Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Pet Connection podcast, where every third Wednesday we celebrate our furry, feathery, and scaly friends. So welcome, everyone. Our Pet Connection show is co-hosted with Angela Laws from Trusted House Sitters, and you can go to TrustedHousesitters.com, and it's such an awesome place because it's where travelers connect, and the one major thing that they have in common other than traveling is their pets, the love of pets. And that goes from snakes and dogs, guinea pigs, to chickens, to horses, you name it. All of it, right? And Nancy and I, publishers of Big Blend magazines and hosts of Big Blend Radio, travel the country full time. We document parks and public lands, but our whole life expanded when we started pet sitting through Trusted House Sitters. I'll never forget that first live podcast that we did, the live show with Angela. And she's like, well, Nancy and Lisa, why aren't you doing this? We're like, I don't know. We're stupid if we don't. And it has changed our lives. I think we've done over 100 and I can't remember. It's well over 100 pet sits in 5 years across the country, from Pennsylvania to Oregon, Washington State to Florida, the Midwest, Texas, you name it, we've done it. Now, Angela's been around the world doing this for a number of years, 10, 15, I don't know, way more than that, years. And she's still very, very young, though, when I start adding the years up. Let's not go there on any of us, but we're so excited about today's show because September is Pet Sitter Education Month. Now, we've done a lot of shows talking about pet sitting, the beauty of it for pet parents and for the pets and for the pet sitters, which, Trusted House Sitters is about, because no one's exchanging money. This is if you're a traveler and you want to go to a specific location, you are staying in the pet parent's home, taking care of their animals, their garden, whatever you communicate about. And it's hey, we're going to help each other. It's like friends. And you do make friends on this. Not only the furry finned ones and feathered ones, but you do make human friends too, which is definitely what Nancy and I have done. Actually, learning about becoming a pet sitter is a very exciting topic. I know we get asked about it all the time. How do you pet sit? Like, aren't you nervous going and taking care of someone else's dog other than your own? And so let's dig into it. Angela, aren't you excited about this topic? I think it's exciting, personally. I could talk about it all day.
Absolutely. Hi, Lisa. It's great to be back. And oh my goodness, where are these 3 weeks gone? I mean, yeah. And this really is an important topic. And there's so many levels on it. There's so many ways of education and educating yourself and talking about it. And, this is just a start. And just if we can give those snippets for those listening to say, okay, I'm going to help educate myself because this is what you can do. But yeah, it's so many things, and let's start talking about it because it's such an amazing lifestyle choice. And that's the one thing to educate yourself about. It is a lifestyle choice. And it's one of those things that, there are many things that you need to tick the boxes to. One of those obviously is to be a pet lover. That's first and foremost. But then it goes from more to that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I think, there's, other platforms about pet sitting, and then some people have their own business and then hire people. It's like a whole different thing. Trusted House Sitters, it could be something that you do just once in a blue moon, or you can be like Nancy and I as digital nomads, but so many nomads are out there now. Being a nomad is back. And yet this is something us humans have been doing since ancient times. We've always been nomadic. So let's just get real about it. I remember when we first started our tour here, people are like, oh, you're doing this. You're going on the road full time. We did a lot. We do a lot in the tourism world. And then pet sitting has been, the one thing we really missed was our furry companions. And Nancy and I have had dogs, cats, horses, all kinds of animals in our lives. Since when I was born, that's, my family is animals too, as well as humans. But this has changed for us. It adds this balance, not only as you're pet sitting through Trusted House Sitters, you're caregiving. So you're stepping beyond yourself, right? It's not just about going, maybe your pet sit is in San Antonio. Oh, I'm going on the river walk. I've got to go do this. I'm going to go to the botanical gardens. I'm going to go miss this museum. I'm going to go to the Alamo site. I'm going to do this. It actually is part of slow travel, and it's caring. the animal comes before your sightseeing. You work your sightseeing around the animal's routines. Now, Nancy and I choose to 95% of the time not do the sightseeing. Maybe we'll do it the day or two before the sit or after the sit. Sometimes, we stay with the pet parents the day before and the day after. Some of them say, hey, you're here, now go play, stay here as our guest, go explore. Because we just have this, we can't enjoy ourselves without being 100% on. Let's put it that way. When we start a sit, we get there, we get situated, pet parents leave, we hang out with the animals. And I go grocery shopping, come back and do whatever needs to be done with the animals. And so that everyone's cozy, calm. We just have a consciousness of we want to be there in case anything happens. I don't think we'd ever forgive ourselves, but most pet parents are like, please go enjoy yourself. We leave our animals too. So everyone's got their level of what they want to do, but it's through the communication between the pet parents and the pet sitter of what you're going to do. What is everyone comfortable with? But it is about being a caregiver first. It is not just here. I want free lodging, right, Angela? And I don't care what level of pet sitting you're on, that care comes before anything, I believe.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a responsibility. Yes, there are many benefits to it on both sides, for pet parents and for sitters, of course, many, many benefits. And as a sitter, I'd probably say I get back far more than I give. So there are the benefits, but first and foremost, you have obligations, you have responsibilities, and this is where the education starts. I mean, there are many things that for those of you listening today that probably have never pet sat and you've heard about this lifestyle, how can I get started? How can I get into it? What do I need to know? What's that education I need? And there are many ways. I mean, there are those who take first aid courses. They do they do sort of formal education, and there's many of those online. There are free ones, there are ones you pay for, and that is always, always beneficial to do. But do you know one of the biggest ways to educate yourself and educate about pet sitting is to become involved with a community of pet sitters, so that you've got sitters at every single level who've been through it, who have learned, who have done perhaps formal education around taking courses, but also through experience. And most of all, the biggest thing is know yourself. Know yourself, your limitations are, what your expertise is, what you are good at, what your skills are, what it is that you expect to get from this, but what you expect to give to this as well. So the one way to educate yourself, and yes, there are many platforms out there and many ways you can get involved. Trusted House Sitters, for example, we have a blog, and on that blog, we have so many educational articles that if you want to know about something, you can go on there, you can use keywords and you can find that out. But also you can go on to community forums. We have one, there are others out there, and talk to, sort of experienced sitters and those who've done one for their first time and go, whoa, I didn't expect this. But the one thing that everybody, and Lisa's already said it, and we will say this throughout this and every podcast that we ever do, it's all about communication. It's about educating yourself for that sit that you're looking at that you want to do, but you get experience from that. But it's about educating yourself on, what experience do you have? Don't start to run before you actually walk.
I love that. And that's the thing. Like Judy Carnia is a travel writer, was on one of the podcasts that we did recently, our 5-year anniversary of pet sitting. We had some, Wanda and JP were on, Judy. We had different people that are pet sitters, and we all just talked about our experiences, as pet sitters. And what was interesting too is Judy is a feline, a former or retired feline veterinarian. And so she goes, no, I just do cats, And by the way, she just did a whole bunch of cat work in Kenya and South Africa, rescue stuff, like really cool, by the way. So that's awesome. But Judy, she chooses to do felines because that's what she's trained in, and she knows felines really well. So she knows that's her comfort zone. That's her knowledge. And she's able to, I'm sorry, but if we still had our cats, I'd want her as our pet sitter, because that you can't beat that. Right? JP and Wanda, like, they had little dogs, and that's their main. They do what they know, and Nancy and I have had horses, but it's been a while. And I know we've looked at doing pet sits with horses. And I say immediately, how involved is this with horses? I mean, we even run an equine podcast, and I've got a world champion trainer, Christy. You've had her. We've had her on the show with you as well, Christy Wood. And I'm like, I know I got someone to call. I know I got you, Angela, because you're an equestrian as well. But it's like, it's been so long that makes me nervous. Are they horses just out to pasture? More my style. If it's something intense, like and even on our schedule, I think that's now going to be too much for us to handle. And it would make me a bundle of nerves, which means no one's going to be happy. So that's kind of a no for us, even though we love horses and would love that. Even Christy's asked us to sit. I'm like, she goes, I've got the people for emergency. The fact is, I want you there because you care and you do know horses. But, I think you need to know your limitations. Until I hang out, if I spent a couple days with Christy, I'd be back in the saddle. But if we didn't have that, I would not sit horses if I didn't get to spend real time with the pet parents, or the horse parents, I should say, and the horses ahead of time. I would be nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also, if we're talking about education, I mean, you think about it, it's such a word that's so broad, and say, okay, so what is pet sitter education? Where do I start? And I think this is the most important thing for those, who are listening in that are wondering, what is it they need and how to get started. And I think one of the things too is to ask those questions. And when I say go to forums where there's a conversation going all the time, we will have sitters going, how do I get started? Well, we educate them on how to do that. And one of the first things is, sort of, you have to make a good impression if you're going to be a sitter and apply for sits. So the first thing you need to do is craft yourself a great profile. Now, when you craft yourself that profile and you put all of your, your details in there, your experience, and as you're going through this, you're educating yourself into, what is it I really, really know? And what is it I really want? And one of those things when you're crafting this profile about you, because that's what pet parents use in their selection process, as well as reviews and references, is the profile. That's your CV. That's all about you. And there'll be that section with, what's my experience? Why do I want to do this? So while you're filling that out, you're educating yourself into, actually, why do I want to do this? Because so many will come and think that it is something that you can just use to travel or to go somewhere. And yes, you can. However, there are so many layers to it. There is a lot of involvement. It is a lifestyle choice, and you have to be that person. Like Lisa says, you can do it once or twice a year, or you can do it full time as a digital nomad or somebody who works from home and works remotely. But it's also a lifestyle that you learn as you go along. But what you need to have in place before you do that is the skills and the knowledge about yourself, that when you start that first sit that you're going to do, and that first sit you're going to commit to, is a success. That you actually, not just a success in the terms of personal success, but you have met those pets' needs and you've met that homeowner's expectations. And the only way you can do that is by having the experience and being able to apply yourself for that. So educate yourself about yourself. That's the most important thing to start with.
I remember during COVID, a lot of travel writers do this, and a lot of writers. But again, it's like, how much time are you going to be outside of the sit versus in with the animals? So there's this balance. And again, that's that communication. So communication, compassion, caring, those are pretty much in connectivity, right? Connecting with the animal. We're all about the C's today. We should do the alphabet. But I remember so many, when we started pet sitting, people were asking me all these questions, and now I see a bunch of people I know pet sitting. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then because they're nice, I trust them people, like Judy Cartier, right? We talk about her. And I remember one lady's like, I had dogs as kids, but I haven't had an animal as an adult because of my lifestyle. Trusted House Sitters wasn't there for people to come and take care of animals. And she really wanted to do this, one lady. And people started saying, well, she goes, I can't remember walking a dog, and I'm nervous to do that.
one person said, go volunteer at pet shelter, or, you know, a lot of these, you can go volunteer. You're going to learn so much, you know, because they're going to teach you how to handle animals, and these animals are rescues. So that's going to teach you a whole bunch right there. And that is something to also look at. Are the animals that you're going to take care of, are these pets trained? Like, are they easy in, like, if they say, you say sit, are they going to do it? Or are there animals that have had an abusive past? And Nancy and I specialize in that because all our animals in our life have been rescues, and it takes time. I say, don't jump into it and think, know what you know, right? But if you go work, or not work, but volunteer at a shelter, sometimes they just start you off like, hey, you know, you're going to learn how to do the water, or you're going to learn how to walk a dog. You're going to learn how to talk with a cat that needs love and compassion, but you're going to sit there and wait for that cat to come up to you. And maybe you're going to wait for that dog to come up to you because they're scared because the last person was mean. You know, and then it's just like us humans have gone through something traumatic. You've got to let those animals and those people come up to you when they want to talk, or, you know, it's a step-by-step slow process. And Nancy and I are good at that. That's our thing of, you know, these animals didn't have a voice, and we are the voice for animals, period, as far as I'm concerned. And it is our duty in this world to take care of the voiceless. I don't care who we are in life. And whatever we can do to add compassion and make a living being happier and feel safe, we should be doing it. That's just my own belief. But when we're pet sitting, if you can get if you haven't had that huge experience, but you love animals, like I love horses. As a kid, I had every calendar torn up and put up all over my wall. From top to bottom, every wall was horse pictures, everything. And eventually we had a horse, and I had to learn step by step. And, you know, I would just not go and take care of someone's horse because I love horses. Go to a shelter, go do some volunteering and see what you think. Start picking up dog poop and see how you feel about that too. Because you need to be able to clean cat boxes. You know, if the dog barfs, cat barf. Oh yeah, cats like to give that little, like, here, I'm going to give you some hair. You can't really be squeamish about it. So go volunteer, and that may help in the comfort level, I think. What do you think, Angela, on that part? Wanting to build up, and go and pet sit for your friends. If they're gone out for dinner, go babysit like we do for our friends' kids. It's only a few hours, you know.
Well, absolutely. Because I think the other thing to remember too is you can pick up books, you can read, you can go onto the internet, there is so much out there for you to learn, and there's so much knowledge. However, nothing can sort of take the place of actually physically being with animals. And the thing to remember is they could be the same breed, but every single one of them will be different. Every single one of them, they are their own unique personalities. So volunteering at a shelter is one of the best ways to get some education into. And the other thing at shelters too is many of those animals that you're going to be dealing with have got issues of their own. They may have, they're not going to have serious behavioral issues because no shelter will will put that on you. But then you don't know what their background has been, and you don't know, and they're living in an environment that is being made the best it can be for them, but it's not a normal environment. So you're dealing with animals that are not, that are not on the side of whatever normal is. And is there a normal? No, there isn't. But
No.
no, there isn't. But that's the best way to get hands-on experience. And that in itself is an education, and sort of how to walk them, and all of these, any commands and any way of walking a dog that pulls on a leash, or a cat, sitting with cats. But getting that experience is educating yourself. And also, when you're thinking, or if you are out there and you're a sitter and you're an experienced one, we never, ever stop learning. You could do a course for a year that was a formal pet sitters course, and there are ones out there, but you never, ever stop learning, because situations change and situations get thrown at you that you may never have come across before. But if you have the basics and you have a knowledge of what you're capable of dealing with, what you're capable of experiencing, what it is that you feel comfortable with, comfortable enough to be able to care for that animal and that home and have that pet parent have confidence in you enough to go away and know that they have peace of mind because you're actually looking after them. And you know what? Experienced sitters, and that could be somebody, who's done 2 or 3. It doesn't, Nancy and Lisa have done so many, so have I. And each one is different. Each one is unique. There are similarities, of course, there's similarities with what your responsibilities are, but each sit is different and unique. And some of the things that we deal with, there's no formal education for that, but it's actually knowing yourself. And when you get into these situations and you have that ability to deal with things, that is knowing yourself more than anything else. And it's all about communication with those pet parents, because don't forget, even when you believe that you are experienced and have it all together, there is somebody who knows these animals better than you do to start with, and that's their pet parents. They know the animals far better than we will. They're the ones to ask the questions of. They're the ones in the beginning when you're actually, before you confirm a sit, and you have that communication. And the communication starts from the moment you apply for the sit. That's when it starts. And you have to keep that communication going. You have to keep it open. You have to keep that, conversation. And that's the time when you actually ask for all the information that you can get about the pets. Don't forget that sometimes the information you're given isn't necessarily 100% of what you expect, and that's not because pet parents are trying to pull the wool over your eyes or whatever phrase you want to use. It's because to them, their pet's behavior is normal. That's what they're used to. And there may be some situations where it's not for you. So therefore, you need to educate yourself to that sit, ask as many questions, pull your experience from the past, not just sitting, but you've probably owned pets all your life. You've probably been with friends' pets and got experience from them, because let's face it, you must love animals, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this. But it's all about asking questions, and it's all about realizing and accepting that every single pet is different and they behave differently with a sitter, potentially, not always, but sometimes, than they do with their owner. And so it's being aware. It's making and finding out everything that you can, as much as you can, before you actually go and agree to a sit.
And my other C word is staying calm, because if there is any kind of situation, if you lose it, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the animals, right? So things happen. You take a dog for a walk. The dog gets off the leash for some reason. If you panic or anything, that's not going to help. Doesn't help getting clarity. You've got to go from fact and calm. You can freak out later. If a cat doesn't come back, if that's a good one. Education, indoor, outdoor cats. Oh boy. That is communication. The communication with the pet parent is crucial. If they have an indoor, outdoor cat, number one, everybody must understand that if the cat disappears, that is the lifestyle choice that when the pet parents said, okay, it's indoor, outdoor, everybody already knows that. And that should be discussed. Even if the pet parent knows that, you still need to bring that up. So it is an understood thing. Things happen. Coyotes, big birds can take out a little cat. There's cars, there's all kinds of things that can happen to a cat that is an indoor, outdoor cat. And you can only do your best. And if that cat feels like, oh, I'm footloose and fancy free, things happen. And so it's always good to just get that over with. Just a very short communication that they understand and you understand that happens. The other thing is, how do you get the cat in? Talk about that. Does the cat come at 5 o'clock when a treat bag? I don't know. All animals love the treat bag sound. Any kind of bag. You open up a can or a bag, animals know that means yummy food. And so some cats come running for that. Others don't. Everyone is different. Every animal has a soft spot, just like us humans. Like if you say to me, there's a glass of wine, Lisa, at 4 o'clock, if you do, you water this plant, I'll give you a glass of wine. It's going to happen. I'm going to water the plant anyway. Everyone has, some animals are food motivated. Others aren't. Some are TV motivated. 100%. Majority of the animals are. right now we're sitting with Jessie. If we don't put the news on at a certain time, she's looking at us like, fine, I'm going in the other room until you learn to put the TV on. It's a reality. Cats included on this. So it's, as a pet sitter, what we've learned to do is, number one, try and do Zoom at all times as the first initial contact, or some kind of FaceTime, right? Everybody's got a different way of doing it. Find a common ground that's already problem solving together. Do the Zoom if you can. And then you're going to see the home you're going to, hopefully see the pets. Have a look at things like what are the leashes you use and things, especially if you're not meeting the pet parents and the animals before the sit. It's always better to meet them beforehand. For us, we love to stay the night before as a guest so that we can observe the animals and how they interact, what their routines are, observe how everything runs in the house. Not that we're spying, we're there within it, and the animals get to know you. And then it's like, oh, look, this is their buddies. And then when the pet parents leave, they still have a buddy there. So it's not a big drop, and it's different for every situation. Some animals get complete anxiety, some don't. Everybody is different, but everyone gets to know each other, and the communication is better during the sit. We communicate all the time, whether or not we just get a thumbs up or a heart because of a nice picture we always stay in communication with the pet parent. It could be the garden. It could be this, could be that. Communication is key. A lot of times we really just, hey, well, Jessie decided that this is her bed today and decided the human pillow is her pillow. And that's, just funny, but it lets people know how the animal is behaving. And I don't think too much is too much, let people know what they're doing through the day. Are they eating? Those kinds of things. So the communication, we sit down and we always ask, like, what is the routine? What I love about Trusted House Sitters is that they have a welcome guide. And I love the welcome guide because it helps you with the house, where the breaker box is, things you need to know. Oh, do the lawn people come on Wednesday? Or is why there's someone in the backyard that I need to be aware a lawn person is coming in so I can keep the dog inside so there's no issue. There's so many things like that. But once it's done, once the pet parent has done a welcome guide, all they have to do is update it with new things. Now we have a lawn service that comes on Thursday, things like that. The Q&A, having that meeting, especially through Zoom, always is better if possible, or whatever, FaceTime. Go through things like medications. Medications is a big deal. If you are a person who is forgetful, you are going to need to have a list. And I would say do a list. I don't care. That's just me. I'm Virgo, so I'm completely a systems person. I have a list. This is what I do every day. It's trash day here. Oh, medication. And I check it off. There was one sweet pup that we took care of, and he had 14 medications throughout the day. 4 eye drops in the morning, 4 in the evening. All kinds of things. And it was very intensive, but we had this list. We also knew if he didn't take certain ones, this is not a panic mode. This is a panic. This is not. Pet parents were overseas. We had communication going night and day, understanding everything. And they're the sweetest pet parents too. And at the same time, you're also taking care of another dog that cannot not have this. And we're lucky because we're a team, Nancy and I. So if one dog that's getting all the medication is always getting the attention because of the medication and the eating needs. So the other one is Nancy's little baby. And so that dog is actually getting more attention than usual at times because there's 2 of us, which is great at times if that works for people. So the medication is something I really, really, feeding times, the medication times. Can you administer medication? Are the animals hard to give the medication to? I had to learn how to give diabetes shots, insulin shots. And I didn't know that because we took care of a friend's dog. This is not a Trusted House Sitters thing. It was a work situation. So not a Trusted House Sitters thing. And she surprised me with, oh, yeah, you're going to do insulin shots. I looked at her in horror. It's a good friend of mine. I looked at her in horror. I'm like, you didn't tell me that. I want my Trusted House Sitters platform back. Thank you very much. And she's like, well, that's how you do it. But I learned. And I learned I could do it. And so sometimes you're going to go through a growth thing, even though you don't think so, but you better know what medication means, because if you shy away from injections, you better not do that sit, because that can be life or death for an animal. Those kinds of things to me in communication are super important. make sure people have backup food. If you're going to a place like we do a lot of sits in Florida and in the Midwest, and what is your backup situation for hurricanes and tornadoes? Ask those kinds of questions. Do the dogs know about their crate? Because there's emergency things you do need to talk about. And some people look at us like nervous, like, why are we talking about this? We're going on vacation. Because if something happens, and if you look across the country right now, in this country and around the world, there are natural disasters every single day, and you never know when your card comes up for that. And you need to be prepared and do exactly what I say. Stay calm through it all because you know what to do. Am I going on too much, Angela? I feel like we should do a whole course on this.
No, I know. No. I mean, actually, it's brought me on to something I was thinking about too. And that is that, if you're looking to pet sit, regardless of where you're going to go, I mean, if you're going to stay domestically or go anywhere, if you're looking at an area that you've never been to before, educate yourself about that area, educate yourself about where it is you're going. Don't go from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere and get surprised at the fact that it's hot and you don't have enough air conditioning and you don't have this and you can't deal with mosquitoes, you can't deal with this. The number of times I hear, we never expected. Well, you know what? There are places on the internet, you can find out whatever it is you want to know. You have to also be canny and think about the things that you're not being told, but educate yourself. Don't apply to go for a sit somewhere that you've never been to before, you have no idea of, that you land in there and you go, oh, I wasn't expecting this. Well, you know what? That's because you didn't do your homework and you didn't educate yourself. And when Lisa was talking about, injections, etc., and that, the animals' welfare and well-being, that's another thing about the welcome guide. In that welcome guide.
I love that welcome guide. I love it. Please, pet parents, fill it out. I don't care about your one sheet. That's really great. And I love that. But please, the welcome guide makes any disaster happen. And please print it out because things happen with internet and phones and everything. Please print it out. Sorry. Just a
Absolutely. In that welcome guide too should be all the veterinarians' information. And this is one thing about going to a sit the day before. If it's possible, it doesn't always work out, but if it's possible, going to the sit the day before. And you know what? I often see questions being asked by new pet sitters saying, oh, I've been asked to go in the night before. Is that normal? Actually, that should be normal and it could be normal, but it's actually the best way to get introduced to the pet parents, the pet, the home, but most importantly, the pet. And it gives you the chance to see how they behave. And if there's any questions you have, go, and the walks that you go on and where the walks go. But this veterinarian to me is so, so important because I ask to go and meet the veterinarian if it's possible. It isn't always possible, but if I can't meet them, actually, obviously, I then ask the pet parent, please let your veterinarian know that you're going away. Please let them know who's looking after your pet while you're away. Please let them know also, and this is something that is not often talked about, but it should be, because we never, ever, ever know. And in the unlikely, and I stress that word, unlikely event of a life-threatening situation, and we never know, but we hope it never happens. But in that event, that the pet parent has given instructions to their veterinarian as to what their wishes would be, what they want it to happen, what they will give the veterinarian permission to do. And they put that responsibility on their veterinarian, which takes it away from a pet sitter making that decision. Unlikely, honestly, don't go, oh my goodness, but it's unlikely. But this is where we educate ourselves in expect the unexpected and it's likely never to happen.
Yes. And have that conversation. I was like, I want to know about vets. So one thing we learned, and every sit we've done, I learned something new, whether it's something in the garden, another thing about, how to get a dog to eat or whatever it is, right? We always learn something and it comes through because of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is the most important thing, and taking time with the animal so they connect with you and, really giving the animal the love that they deserve. They all do. The the whole thing with the vet, and I've had to take an animal to a vet during COVID, which was interesting. I actually have taken a few to the vet, and some just, they needed a checkup after a surgery and things like that. And one place that we sit for the pet parents, they let their vet know, but the vet has a credit card on file. So that's another thing. Look at that. Talk to the vet. The pet parents should. And this is the thing, don't wait for the pet parents to tell you. As pet sitters, we need to be the proactive ones because we're the ones doing the pet sitting. And sometimes pet parents don't think about the things we're thinking of. And just don't wait for them. Ask, okay, in the event of there's any kind of incident, what is the setup with the vet? Oh, if they don't have a vet yet, but here's a clinic and we'll stay in touch. Okay, stay in touch can get weird, right? Because there are times when cell phones are out, maybe the emergency is at midnight. I've had emergencies at midnight and not been able to get hold of pet parents. And make sure they have a backup emergency person. And sometimes that is old information. Make sure if it's a repeat sit. That's the other thing. Repeat sits. Sometimes we all get too comfortable for ourselves because we need to go through that again. Oh, is this the same person? Is that person home even? Or are they on vacation? Do the neighbors know that there's not someone burgling the house and that took it over? That kind of thing, right? So that is really important. And I know this probably all sounds overwhelming, but it is actually just a simple conversation, right? The vet thing is crucial. Emergency person after that's crucial. Make sure that they even find a nearby vet. If they've moved in and they're new, fine, that's something, but call that vet. Say, hey, I'm on my way, if that's the last case, right? So that they even are familiar with you. This is for the pet parents, but the pet sitter needs to really have that taken care of. They need to have the credit card on file if possible, like all of that. But one pet sit that we did, we still go back and see them every year. They have forms printed out that their vet gave them where they say, I give permission to so-and-so, and they sign it every single time, put the date of the pet sit. They sign, we sign, and everybody is on the same page of if anything happens at the vet. We take that form in, and the vet knows about it. It's actually from the vet, but everyone's, and he's a lawyer, so he knows, but everything's legalized. But they are like, we're not messing around. Here's my form. I am the pet sitter. This is the signature from the pet parent. And it was something they learned from another pet sitter. And that's what I love about the forum that, Trusted House Sitters has, is that you learn these little things because just when you think you've seen it all, you're going to learn something new. And that to me is a wonderful tool to have that,
it's great. The best education there is actually talking to others who are actually doing this or have done it, have been there, as they say, been there, bought the t-shirt. But don't forget also, last word on veterinarian is with Trusted House Sitters, parents have, as part of their membership, access to a 24/7 professional veterinary helpline. And when sitters are on a sit, they have access to that vet line too. Now, it's not diagnostical. It is triage, which means that they can't diagnose, of course. But if you phone in and you've got a question, and it doesn't have to be an emergency question. It can be just a run-of-the-mill question or something you're not quite sure of. You can phone into that helpline and they will give you advice. They will either say, depending on the circumstances, they will either say, get yourself to the emergency room or to the veterinarian now, or no, that's okay. You can wait until tomorrow morning. But it's having that assurance that you're speaking to somebody who has that professional experience that can actually advise you. And that is available because, things happen when you least expect them. But the pet parents and sitters, that conversation should carry on the whole time. And it's the best way of learning your craft. And your craft is to be the best pet sitter you can be. Because you know what, Nancy, Lisa and I were talking and we were saying how pet parents say to us, you know what, Charlie was so happy when I came home and he's been happy ever since, although we think he misses you. Those words from a pet parent to a sitter to say their dog or their cat or whatever it is so happy when you left them happy. That's the best reward that for me that I can actually get. And it is so, it is.
And some pet sitter side effects. You'll walk around talking to the animals. I love you. I don't know how many times I say I love you from the world and back. I love you more than anyone else. I'm not this kind of mushy person, but it's pathetic. Nancy, don't I do that? It's like, I love you. You love me. I know you do. And all the animals get songs, they get new names, like just heightened names. It's not just Jessie, it's Miss Jessie. And, the side effects are you're going to fall madly in love. You're going to give them nicknames. You're going to give them songs. You will tell them that you love them. And then the sit is over the very first time. I cry. The crying is real. I remember doing it the very first sit. It was for Cheryl and everyone. She's been on the show. Cheryl Ogle, travel advisor, is on the show a lot. And we're about to go there. And the very first was Koozie, the cat, this beautiful Maine Coon. And she talks. She will tell you. And she said to me, Nancy, she goes, well, Koozie will tell me if she enjoyed the sit or not. And Nancy and I are like, what the heck? Well, she does. She sits down and will go meow, 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 meow. And her meow meows will tell you there's a happy and there's like a you're annoying me now. And the tail will tell you. And that's the thing is pet sitters, be observant of all those things. And anyway, she comes home. We go to leave and I am beside myself. And Nancy's like, stop it. She's going to think you're weird. Stop it. And we drive off and I had to pull over. I was just horrified that, and so now, I mean, we're still like that. And people know it's like you get so connected with these animals and they bring you such joy. And then you get to see them again. And the most beautiful thing is when you go to see them again and they remember you, wag their tails, jump on your lap. No. And then, I mean, one sit we do a lot with out in Georgia. We arrived there and one cat just looks at me like it's time to go and play in the tunnel. The other one looks at me, it's food time. It's just like we went right into routine and they just look at me like, well, where's this? Where's that? Like we're dictating you around and it just makes your heart sing, sing, sing. So those are side effects, some of the side effects of pet sitting that are joyous. But before we go, I do want to say this is one of the most crucial things to me when we talk with a pet parent. This is all before you say yes or no to a sit, so you can assess whether or not this is something you feel capable and you're comfortable. Do you feel comfortable with that person as a pet parent in communication? Did you feel like you hit it off that this is someone you want to get to know as well, so that you are off. If you have an instant dislike too, don't do it because it's not going to get better. It's got to be a matchmake, right? And so if it's not a match, there's nothing to be sad about, and you will be turned down. Nancy and I both think, other than Angela, that we are the best pet sitters on the planet. We do. And if we get turned down, we're like, well, that sucks. But you know what? You get turned down for all kinds of reasons. And then next thing you know, you'll be like asked to be there the next time around or something. It's just, sometimes people choose people over other people's needs or wants. One lady chose another woman because she misses her grandkids, has a whole grandkid room of toys and players. And this was a family. And she's like, oh, I want kids to come and have fun with this. And I was like, how cool is that as a person, Mm-hmm. So that you're meeting the most caring people too, because they care about their animals. So you already are dealing with people who care. They care about their animals. But I will say this, for each pet animal that you're taking care of, ask the likes and the dislikes, the fears. So every animal has something, like us humans. There's certain things someone will say and it drives me nuts. Well, that's my thing, but whatever. As humans, we have control over that. Animals, like here, Jessie, you touch her feet, she freaks out. I don't know what happened in the past, but she doesn't want you to touch her feet. So we need to know that. So we do not mess up that wonderful communication and bond by touching her feet. That makes her uncomfortable. We don't want that. Some animals have pain spots, especially the elder animals. Some animals really love certain things like scratching their butts. I mean, we just sat for one dog that she would come in and visit me while I'm working, look at me, and I'll go to pet her, and she'll wag her tail and just push her butt right in, go, come on, this is the butt scratching docking station, and that's what I was to her. So, knowing what they like and don't like is a really good thing. And also, are they treat motivated, all that, or ball motivated like Jessie? Or the other part is also understanding their fears. Are they scared of thunder? lightning, fireworks, and what do the pet parents do to help calm them down? We've done gazillions of shows about all of this, but as a pet sitter, we need to know because things happen. And, if someone's car drives down the street and backfires, does it affect the dog or the vacuum cleaner? All animals hate the darn vacuum cleaner, so there's things like that. So just so you are aware, so if the dog doesn't like the vacuum cleaner, maybe put the dog in a different room or outside, or whatever you need to do. So those are things just like walking. Ask the same thing about walking dogs. Be careful with that and, always keep them on a leash. I'm just saying. Angela, I think this is a whole series, man. We're going to go on for 10 years.
This is indeed. You know what? And the other thing to do is anybody's got any questions, just ask.
Yeah. Put it in the comments.
Absolutely. Ask the questions and we will get back to you. And absolutely, between Lisa and I, and we know so many other sitters and pet parents.
And the forum. We can go to the forum.
Absolutely. And our blog. Go to the blog and you will have, because it's not just educational sort of articles that we produced. It's our members as well. Our members are talking and we've got veterinarians, we've got behaviorists, we've got all sorts of people within our community. And I think that is the strongest word that I want to use for this whole subject. We have the most unique, connected, I can't say enough about it, that we have a community that is like no other community out there. When you think about what we do, that we go into people's homes, we live their lives, we step into their shoes, they walk out the door and give us the key to their most precious home and their pets, their most precious possessions, and they leave and they say, thank you. And we connect. And sometimes we make lifelong friendships. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we go, we do the sit, we leave, and our paths may never cross again. But for that time that they did, it was something very special. And that time that we did allowed us as sitters to have a successful sit to go on to want to do more. And the pet parents, they loved having us there. We met every expectation and every pet's needs. And they want to continue doing this, and the community grows and grows and grows. And so it's all about that community. And I have 1,000,001 stories, as Lisa does. Those stories are all about the way we connect and what it is that brings us together. The one thing that brings us together that is common amongst all of us are those furry beings or feather or scaly or whatever they are. In the center of this, with no voice, no choice, we give them what they need and we meet those voices and those choices and we make the right ones for them. So it's all about a community like no other.
I think I want to be a pet sitter now. I think I got to go hug Jessie now. Yeah, really. Well, thank you so much, Angela, and everyone. TrustedHousesitters.com is the website to go check out. Learn more from there. Check out the forum, the blog, like Angela's saying. The links are in the episode notes. Thanks for listening, but please feel free to reach out to us anytime. My email's at lisa@bigblendmagazines.com. Go on social media, wherever you can connect with us. Please do. Any questions, like we're saying, we're here to do that. And we have so many experts that we all know, including vets and so just reach out and enjoy Happy Land with animals. Thanks, Angela.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Pet Connection podcast. New episodes air every third Wednesday. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com and learn more about the world of pet sitting at TrustedHousesitters.com.